Never fails, man. Never, ever, ever, ever fails. Technology.
Ira, what the fuck?
It wasn't giving me the invite. I was literally watching you saying, hey, did you get the invite? I sent you an invite. I'm watching it, and I'm waiting for the thing to come through, and it didn't. And it literally just came through a second ago.
You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah. Isn't that what I just started to say?
Ira, welcome to the On Blast podcast. I'm thrilled to have you as always.
Thrilled to be on.
For anyone that is watching, if you have not tuned in before and you are tuning in for the first time, make sure you guys go subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because how else are we going to get famous, dude?
And then also make TikTok videos of us.
No TikTok videos of us. No TikTok
Absolutely.
videos.
He said no, that means do it.
Oh, that's what we're doing. That's the mood we're in. We're in the do what we want fucking mood.
Oh, I mean, it's Sunday.
You know what our famous and fearless leader used to say, Mr. Will Johnson. He'd say superstar, and today has been dubbed in honor of Will Johnson, because I will force him to watch these videos one day. Today has been dubbed Superstar Sunday. Ira, it's been a fucking day, man. I mean,
I can imagine.
I was going over my notes. I was going over the day. I was trying to digest the weekend. It was a long weekend, and I was looking at my computer, and I'm looking at my journal, and I'm looking at the phone, and I'm like, I was starting to go a little fucking crazy, man. I was starting to lose my shit.
Like your hair standing on end?
Everyone's got something to say. Didn't anyone learn, if you got nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut?
That was nice.
So I was sitting here and I'm going through everything, and I'm like, how are we going to nail today's podcast? How are we going to make these the most memorable podcast? And I think that way for every show and every podcast and every word that we speak. How are we going to make that the most impactful one yet? It's always at the top of my to-do list. How do we make this the best to come? And I'm sitting here and I started to lose my mind a little bit, and I started to think, let me just overwork. Let me read as much shit as I can an hour before the podcast. Let me write as much shit as I can. Let me listen to some heavy ass shit before the podcast. I went into full on lose your goddamn mind mode. I was like, and I'm still there.
See, I can picture the 8 Mile soundtrack playing in your head.
yeah, like a fucking Rocky going down the bleachers, bro. I'm like, and that is exactly what was happening. And I'm like, how am I gonna get this show just right this week? And it dawned on me, man. Just fucking do it. Just do it and enjoy it as always. Because I got to the point where I was working to the bone of psyching myself out, and
yeah, and you know me, I fucking did that shit so much, I overthought myself into a circle, and then I got frustrated, I got pissed off, and then I wanted to burn everything down.
Man, I could not get it. And again, it was a long day. I have to give the credit where it's due. It was a long day. I probably should have taken a day and came back fresh next week. But the podcast is extremely important to me, and is extremely important to be consistent. So here we are. And, it was a weird day, and I should have given myself a break. But I went in, I instead of doing what I knew I should have done, which was take a break, I went into fucking...
You went into overdrive.
I went into total overdrive and lost my mind the last hour or two. And just I was just in the last 5 minutes, I had to say all right, Tony, come back to reality, buddy. Come back.
So, I mean, I got a question though. Do you feel satisfied?
What do you mean? You're satisfied with
Well, just going in an overdrive, And
No.
you're working towards something. You don't know what, but you'll figure it out when you get there. But like now, as you're talking about it, do you feel satisfied with all that you were doing?
No, that was disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting. And
Exactly.
it's you know, it's really hard, I think, for people to like get a grip in those moments where like it's in my DNA, Ira, to work like a slave to overcome things. It's just how I overcome obstacles. I overcome anything. I just work, man. I don't know anything else. I pick up the laptop, I pick up the book, I journal, and and usually that makes me feel better. But dude, I was like, I lost my goddamn mind in the last couple hours, and I think it's really neat to like point out that that happens definitely to a lot of fucking people. Like you get inside your head
Right.
and like that's that moment where you're like really you're grilling yourself essentially and you're being really hard on yourself. That's the moment that you really need to take a minute to say, yo, you got to come back to this planet, dog, because it's not that bad, you
Well,
know.
here's the thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, not at all.
just by you going into what you're going into, it literally layers into what our topic of the day is going to be.
Oh, yeah,
And
and
it literally
that's
goes right into it.
yeah, it's funny how that works, man, because I was like sitting here and I always, and I told you at the beginning of the week, I said, I always like to make sure I'm on the ball for the podcast. It's just, again, it's a part of who I am. I want to be sharp. I want to know my shit better than anybody. And I work really hard to be that person. But, dude, coming into the last like 5 minutes before we hopped on is where our topic came full circle on even my own head. And, while we're at it, we're talking about, coping mechanisms, man. That's our big thing this week. It's something that we wanted to talk about because obviously we could go on and on for days about
Oh yeah.
how we cope and whatnot. But I think that last couple minutes before I hopped on, I was like, oh shit, this is so weird how the universe is like, hey, I'm going to drive you insane for the next couple hours, but in that last second, it's all going to click. And it all clicked. And I was like, I'm not going to hop on and just fucking be like, yeah, today's a good day. Because frankly, today sucked. Today
Yeah.
fucking sucked, man. Today was bullshit. Today, I was punked today, man. I've been bamboozled today. Someone screwed me. Like I got it today, man. I got it. And I would be a fucking liar and I would be a fraud if I got up here and sat here and spoke to a community of people that I want to believe in me. If I sat here and said, yeah, I'm having a great day. Because I'm not. I'm fucking not, man. Just not. But
Well, to lighten the mood a little bit, I went TV shopping with my dad.
TV shopping, did we
I
pick
we
one?
we went to our favorite place, Best Buy.
Best Buy. You know what? I'm gonna have to talk with the team with the On Blast podcast, see if we can arrange for like a family photo of us as our profile picture. What do you think?
That one definitely sounds like something we need to do.
I got a good one. I found it in my camera roll the other day. I was like, oh, this is totally spot on. This is totally spot on. But anyway, Ira, it's been one hell of the weekend was beautiful. How did you enjoy the weekend, man? It's been fucking, the weather's been beautiful.
Well, I'm enjoying the weekend, but I'm more so enjoying, the fact that I'm not feeling like shit from COVID. I'm out of the woods and all that. I can go back to work coming up in this week.
Yeah.
Resume some sort of normalcy.
What is normal? What is normal?
Yeah.
What is like?
Well,
What
there is no normal.
Normal.
There is no normal.
Normal is only what you think fucking normal is, right?
Well, to me, normal is just repetition.
Okay.
Doing the same things over. That's like the things that you do on a regular basis. That's normal stuff.
But what if doing those things is hurting you, almost like insanity? Does that make it normal or insanity?
Well, it makes it both because your insanity has become your norm.
Great. So you're like a mad scientist just going through the motions of life, going insane. Yeah, I could see you cooking up some crazy shit in your head all day, Ira.
Look, you don't want to go up here, dude. you look. you have kind of gone in my head a little bit.
I do appreciate the psychology of the world. I was never, and I don't mean to undercut myself. I don't want anyone to feel bad for me, but I'm not bright enough to be like a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination. However, I have always been intrigued by the way people think and act and, you know, the way they do things. And more importantly, man, just like this week, how people deal with fucking life. You know, we were talking at the beginning of the week, and I was sitting at a rest area off the parkway after a long bike ride, and I got on the phone with you, and you know, I was sitting there, and we were like, "What do you want to talk about for this week?" Which is a common occurrence for us because we don't just hop on the podcast and we're like, "Hey, man, we're gonna talk about fucking the color of your eyes this week." We talk about some pretty sensitive shit. But you know, we wanted to talk about coping mechanisms this week, and not to sound so doctorate-like, and more our style and more our aesthetic would be, how do you deal with life? How do you deal? You know, and I think no better example than what the hell I was doing today. I was literally dealing with the day. I was like, and I couldn't even get a grip on it. And it happens often, but it's always interesting to see like how people think and how they deal with things, man.
So how do you deal with things?
Well, it depends what kind of situation I'm in. You know,
Couldn't have had a better answer, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be like a shapeshifter, man. I'm very I pick up on my environment, and yes, you know, and I think your environment, if you look into the psychology of that, has so much to do with everything in your life. Almost everything has to do with your environment, man. And for me, my environment has a lot to do with the way I deal with things. You know, if I'm just in a bad mood and I'm just going through some shit, I usually know to like, okay, you need to take a step back and you need to go deal. But today, you know, I had some heavy shit I was dealing with, nothing I care to talk about on here. But we all do. We all have heavy shit we're dealing with. And, you know, I don't say that because I know it, but like I say it because I mean it. Like I feel it. Like there's people that are fucking broke right now. There's people that have kids that have no money. There's people that are sick right now and have no health. I mean, like, you know, I was watching a video yesterday and it said, you know, if I'm hungry, I can buy food. You know, if I'm homeless, I could buy a home. You know, if I can't get somewhere, I can buy a bus ticket. You know, but if you're sick and dying, you can't buy your health. You know, and I think it's really important, man, to see like, you know, how to cope with those things, because it can be really hard for people. And I always say it, and I hope that the On Blast podcast is a safe haven for people. Even, you know, if you're a macho guy and you're all masculine and whatnot, it is totally fine to come and, yeah, I mean, you guys see Ira, he's like, I mean, I'm a little bougie, I'll admit, but Ira's like as manly as it gets. There is nothing more manly than being vulnerable and talking about your feelings.
I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, that's probably one of the truest statements that, you know, you can make. You know, because a lot of times, how many of us, and you, I know you did it, I did it when I was younger, how many, like, we put up this facade, you know, and we felt we had to act a certain way, you know, because these people might be watching, or you just feel this is how you're supposed to be because this is what you were taught.
I don't even know if maybe, I mean, I'm sure you're like, yeah, I could see it. My parents were tough sons of the bitches, and you know, they certainly probably indirectly taught me to be a man, you know, be a man. You don't cry. Certainly my dad was no pushover. He was like, oh, you're crying? What are you crying about? You know, my mom, I was more of a mama's boy, but, you know, you're right, man. And I want people to know, like, whether you're a man or a woman, you can talk about your feelings. And that's one way that I deal with my shit, dude. people look at me and I know what they're thinking. Yeah, why are you bitching? And I know that's what they're thinking, and that's totally okay. But
Mm.
it's not necessarily me bitching, because I do bitch a lot for sure. Um, I can't. It's just how I get things off my chest. But for me, talking about how I feel about something, man, I have to. If I don't get it off my chest, like, I always believed in the good and the bad. You have to give this stuff away. If you're having a bad day, you got to give it to someone else, man. You cannot carry that burden by yourself. And likewise, if you're having a good day, you need to share that shit with everybody, because
Yeah.
you have to, right?
I mean, I'm definitely one that, I don't shy away from, when I'm having a shitty day, I'm vocal about it. When I'm having a great day, you know it. I'm very steadfast on that. Like, one thing I've definitely learned, from coping with a lot of shit in life is, like,
How hard is it?
wait,
How hard is it to deal with that shit? I mean, we can talk about it being hard.
well, I mean, it's hard, but the thing is, though, is it the word hard doesn't give it any real meaning.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
you can just say hard, but here's the thing: you don't understand what what hard is on that, and everybody
Oof.
has a different experience.
Yeah,
Everybody's hard is different, and that's where a lot of coping mechanisms will come into play also, because how you respond to some of these things is going to basically determine results and
yeah.
or lack thereof. And so that's how some people get a little further ahead in maturity, or some are not quite yet there.
Which is fine.
Just and I mean, it boils down to a lot of coping mechanisms. And like I said, some people are just a little more advanced, and that they're a little further along on.
It's it's funny, and I said it to you, and I'll say it to the podcast. I never want our podcast and our conversations to go so in depth that you need a fucking PhD to understand what we're
Yeah.
talking about. We talk about very simple things. I think that really keeps things mainstream and hyper focused around what we're talking about, which I really appreciate. And you brought up something really cool there, because it was on my mind, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but you mentioned it. You don't really realize what hard is for someone else, right? And I didn't realize that really too much until I was getting divorced. And I was so in my own head with some of the things that I wasn't really too open to how another person felt about things. I was just like, I have a lot going on in my head. I can't be concerned with anyone else. That's how I felt.
Mm.
And that's the time, man, where you do have to dig deep and realize, like, there's people that are going through things. Like, yeah, you're crying all the time because that's like what you do, let's say. And I can
Mm.
sit here and say, stop crying. But what if that's really, really hard for you? What if that is like one thing that, like, you're so hurt by the world. You're so sensitive that all you do is cry. Like, we have to be more open to that. And I thought something that was really funny. Did you see a lot of talk over the weekend about this, what's her name? The Prince Harry and his wife,
A little bit, yeah.
Meghan, and they did this
I mean,
Oprah
I'm not privy to the
interview.
details, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not privy to the details either, but let me tell you, man, the internet did not hold back on those two, okay, or three, I mean, including Oprah,
Mm.
because they're talking about, like, they're being kicked out of the royal family, essentially, because of, I don't know, racism or some kind of divide. I don't know the details myself, but essentially they're being kicked out, and they're talking to Oprah about it, like, their journey, because they've had a long journey. And I seen a meme the other
And
day.
Oprah's the person to talk to.
Oprah's the person to talk to, but they're in Oprah's, like, probably like state of the art, crazy looking backyard garden.
Yeah, I saw
It's
that.
it's probably the size of a fucking football field, if I had to guess,
If
at
not bigger.
scale, if not bigger, and it's beautiful and worth probably millions. And they're sitting there, and they're just, the internet's roasting the hell out of these three, because how the hell is Oprah going to understand what it's like to be living in poverty, or being exiled or alienated from your own family, when she's high on the hog, sitting on her, golden bricks? And likewise for Harry and the whatever the hell her name is, Meghan.
Mm.
Um, you know, they're talking about how oppressed they are, but they're worth millions. You know, and it's easy to throw stones like, hey, look, I agree. How could you? Hey, look, when you're worth a couple hundred million, Ira, how hard could life really be, right?
Yeah.
But
But money isn't everything, dude.
money is certainly not everything. But secondly, you never know, dude, what someone else is dealing with. You don't fucking know. And people
Nope.
are so selfish to that. And like, I can never wrap my head around that because I've seen the memes and yeah, they were funny. But my second thought to them being funny was man, what are they dealing with? Like, what are they truly dealing with? Like, they've been kicked out of their own family. Let me tell you, if my family kicked me out, we'd be fighting. There'd be some hell to pay if my family thought they were going to get me out. I don't care for any reason. I don't care if I was a dope head, I was robbing everyone. You are not kicking me out of my family. Nope. Come hell or high water. You will not. Nope. You don't have my vote. No way. But it's interesting. And you see how how even at that level with all your money in the world, shit really doesn't change.
No.
Money certainly probably doesn't change anything.
I mean, money just it brings a lot more into your life. And I'm gonna leave it as a broad, vague statement, just like that, without any detail. Because it brings a lot into your life. It could be a whole lot of shit. It could be a whole lot of drama. It could be a whole lot of happiness. It could be a whole lot of bullshit. But it's going to be a whole lot of something.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is that's going to remain the same is the fact that you've got to deal with it. One way or another.
Yeah, I used to think
whether you're broke, rich, poor, you know, happy, sad, depressed, it doesn't discriminate.
No, it doesn't, man. It will find you and it will fuck you up, man. It don't care about anything. It don't care if you got brown hair, blue eyes. It doesn't care ethnicity.
It's a mindless machine.
Yeah, it's funny. And you know, growing up poor and you know, I always, when I was a little younger, I always thought like I need to be successful. My idea of success was wealth. Essentially, if I can build wealth, I'm a success, and I've essentially made it in this world if I can achieve this level of wealth. And you know, man, the older I get, I have given up more opportunities for wealth, for my sanity and my happiness, because you know, money doesn't. I mean, it's cliche, but money doesn't fucking do it, man. It just doesn't do it. There's other things out there. I was sitting there with a buddy the other night, and I know because me and you were pretty close, Ira. I know this is something you could probably relate to, and I know we all can. And I was talking to Nina about it last week too. You know, you have these moments of clarity where it's just like, bam, like it just fucking clicks, dude. And I'm with my longtime friend Nick Hoffman. And we had a long day of riding. We spent all day riding over the weekend, Ira.
Wait, was this when you were taking the pictures with the Bentley?
Well, that was a Rolls Royce, and
Okay.
yes, that was essentially the same day. The owner of that Rolls Royce, by the way, is really cool. And if anyone's in the
That was a
market,
nice car.
you can rent that bad boy out for a cool $5,000 a month if you guys want. Not for me. I'll tell you what, I'll stick with my Honda Accord. I'm perfectly happy. But where the hell was I going? You derailed me.
You were talking about your day with Nick.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there with Nick, and you know, and again, Nick's great. You know, he really is. Him and his wife, Cassie, they're wonderful. And it's the end of the day, and we're outside, and he just looks at me and he goes, "This just feels so right," you know. And I was like, "Man, it's so simple, but it just feels so right." And I think we need to do a better job in life of not necessarily coping with things or just putting up a front, but really embracing the hell that we're in. You know, again, I've had a rough fucking day, man, but I'm in good spirit. I am. You see, if I had a really bad day, you wouldn't have heard from me. But I'm in good spirit, and I think it's really important to not roll over give up, throw in the towel, wave your white flag when you're having a bad day, because maybe that is how you deal with shit. Maybe you say, I'm done. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to pay any mind to it. And I think not acknowledging a really, really big problem could
Yeah, that's a
be,
problem in itself.
I mean, that's going to lead you to more animosity and chaos down the line. But again, we've talked about it so many times on the podcast
Yep.
already, Ira. You have to be able to acknowledge, like, you have to be able to pinpoint those things. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm so acutely aware of the things I suck at and the things I'm good at. But I've noticed a lot recently that not everyone's like that. Like, not everyone can just say, like, okay, I know I suck at relating to others, or I know I suck at, talking too much. Like, how do people, like, I don't know. It's just another one of those things. Like, what's taking upstairs that, like, we just go through the motions of coping
Well,
with
I mean,
shit.
you have people that are self-aware. You have people that don't have a clue what's going on. Everybody's going to be different. You can't expect the same thing out of two different people. Like I just, even with coping mechanisms, how you just go about, handling something. Somebody else
Yeah.
can do it the same exact way, but the thing is, though, is it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to respond the same way you will, because everybody, their brains function differently. They absorb things differently. They take in information differently. So your experience doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same experience for anybody else that, is going through a similar or the same issue.
Oh, well, I feel like if that's how I feel, isn't that how everyone feels? Right? Like, if I can do it, why can't everyone else do it the same way as me? And again, that's something I suck at. I just said it. I mean, I have a hard time sometimes relating to people and how they do things differently,
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
here's the thing. We've gotten so far ahead of ourselves with this one statement. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Like, we have literally been so beat down with that statement that we freaking believe it. We
Corporate
fucking believe
America.
it. And really, if you really boil it down to, it's been
It's
a false
bullshit.
statement. Yeah, it was a bullshit statement the whole fucking
It's
time.
total
It's a
bullshit.
sales technique.
Yes. And luckily, I never really truly bought into that statement, but I seen how it was imposed upon others, and I could see how someone could buy into that very statement, because you're like, oh, okay, if I can do it, everyone can do it. But the truth of the matter is, you just said it. It's fucking wrong, man. And I love the podcast because I want people to know, like, we're two real guys. We're going through real shit. Some days are better than others.
That's for damn sure.
Like, I love like, we have the podcast on Sundays because, again, it's Superstar Sunday. And
Woo!
in honor of Will Johnson, I mean, I'll never be able to get that out of my goddamn head. Thank you, Will. Total side note, I was on YouTube and I searched us the other day, and
Okay.
I seen a similar search pop up, and it said Tony and Ira on blast. And I
Yep,
never
that was
typed
the
this.
initial. That was the initial one.
Oh, was it?
That was the first one we created. On blast. On blast with Tony and Ira.
And all I could think of was Will. For anyone that doesn't know, Will is our ex-boss, wonderful guy, great leader, mentor, great friend. I wonder if Will opened up that bottle of Tianello I gave him from the Amalfi Coast yet.
Oh, you know he did. You know he
No,
did.
he was savoring it, man. He didn't want to
Okay.
open it. It's a $100 bottle of fucking wine, man. I wrapped that thing with like 14 pairs of socks when I got on the plane. I was scared. I was like, Will, I'm not worried about the bottle of wine. I'm worried about when it fucking breaks and it's in all of my shit. And I'm on a 24-hour flight from fucking Heathrow, London. And then we got diverted and then we got canceled. I was like, holy shit, man. I wonder if the bottle.
Speaking of that trip, you said you got me a shirt that you never gave me.
No, Ira, it's not like me to be a liar, so I must have a shirt somewhere for you. I don't exactly remember, but I do have a shirt from the
So,
Amalfi that.
so actually, you want to? Why don't you give our viewers a little tidbit of information? Because when you were going to Italy, there was a little bit of a scare in you that you could potentially be kidnapped. So,
Ira.
so like, you want to elaborate into this situation a little bit?
I mean, look, man, you could be fucking kidnapped anywhere. I'm a big sissy, Ira. Okay, you know it, and I hope the On Blast podcast understands. I'm a big sissy. I may
So,
come
what
off
was your prevention method from getting kidnapped?
I don't remember. What was it? What'd I do? Is it legal before
You
go any
made
further?
sure I had certain numbers.
Oh, I gave you some numbers to call in case I disappeared for a while.
No, if I didn't hear from you, those were the numbers to people to contact, but I would end up finding you no matter where in the world you are. I would track you down.
I hope for everyone's coping mechanisms and how they deal with life that they are fortunate enough to find themselves Ira. And if you can't find an Ira, okay? If you can't find an Ira, I hope you're fortunate enough to find something remotely close. But if you can't find something remotely close, just take anything that is kind of like Ira. Because if you can get someone that is an eighth of this man right here, you are golden. Golden, okay?
I'm flattered.
You are golden. You should be flattered. You're wonderful, Ira. And if anyone fucking tells you otherwise, you tell them to go to hell. But I gave you the numbers because, frankly, I wasn't too concerned about you calling them. I was just hoping you get on a plane and come get me.
Well, you do. I would. If anybody, like, and here's the thing: if you got kidnapped, the only person that would be able to track you down would be me.
That was how I said. I probably said to Will, "Yeah, I gave Ira the fucking numbers so he can come get me just in case." And then
I was like, man.
Yeah, man. He's like, man, where are you? I'm like, dude, man, I'm in Europe. He's like, superstar? I'm like, hey.
Superstar someday.
So, Will, I miss Will. He's like, I'm sure I say it a lot, but
we've got to get him on the show.
We will. For anyone that's watching, everything has to do with family for this podcast and Whiteboard Worthy. Everything's about connections and family and having that community. And I've been beating that drum. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, or as Will would say, like a broken record.
Yep.
I will preach that shit until the day I'm done. Connections and family are number one. Nothing beats that shit. Nothing.
And speaking of connections and family, I do have a shout out, a very close little friend of you and me, Carlos. Okay. Today is his birthday, so happy birthday, Carlos.
Hear ye, the great Botero has arrived. I believe he's in Cancun today. I've seen him posting some very, what's the word?
Luxurious.
I think negligent is more the word, but luxurious will do. I think negligent is a little bit more accurate, but we'll call it luxurious. The great Carlos Botero, happy birthday, buddy. I'm sure, turning 19 is going to be a really big day for you.
He's been 19 since like the whole time we've known him.
I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. I was like, oh man. So I was thinking of it. I was like, oh man, Carlos. He looks like he's having a great time. And it's sunny Cancun, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got sun here in Jersey. It's just got this fucking killer wind, dude. There's some fucking wind going on right now. Like, I'm looking at my car just to see if like tree branches are snapping off hitting my car.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The wind is absolutely brutal, man. Like I was in the car and I almost like for one brief second thought, let me take the bike out. But after the last 30 hours of riding this weekend, I was like, because I've got like these awful calluses on my fucking heels, and I was wearing a backpack, so I have these like rashes on my shoulder. Oh, it just looks bad, dude. It looks like I just
need Gold Bond.
War. Oh God, Ira. I couldn't even finish a meal last night. I was so tired. I had to go to sleep. I was like, I'm not eating dinner. I can't do this. But yeah, it was a fun weekend, and I hope everyone out there enjoyed their weekend. But Ira, I hate to cut us short, but I do have some things going on, and so I just want to circle back for everybody. This has been a short one, but I think I really enjoyed this one because,
Yeah.
I always enjoy talking to you, and I hope that our words resonate with other people because again, a lot of thought goes into this. We're both on here. I know I wasn't the only one that had a bad day, and I know that watching this video isn't going. I'm not the only person. I never will be. I know a lot of us have a bad day, and it can be corny, but I hope if there's any message that sticks with you more than any other message we've ever said before is there is nothing more masculine than being vulnerable and talking about your shit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, because I could have got on today and coped. I could have put up my wall and said, hey, Ira, welcome to On Blast. But I got on and I said, Ira, I'm having a fucking day, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Right?
It's better. It's better to do that than to shove it because it allows you to deal with it.
Yes, I acknowledged it. I have to deal with it. It's my life. I made my bed. I get to lay in it. Okay, I didn't make this bed, but I have to lay in it anyway because it's my life. So
yeah.
If you're going through hell, just you have to find that silver lining.
If you're going through hell, get ferrets.
I don't know if ferrets are gonna help.
Dude, they solve so many problems.
Ira, you weren't entertained with that ferret video I sent you the other day. She was like, oh, you guys all loved my ferret video of me wringing my ferret out like a washcloth, and she's got this ferret and she's moving it like this, and all of a sudden it's an actual washcloth, and she's like, yeah, the ferret's fine. And I'm like, oh my God, what'd she do to that ferret? It's like, that ferret has no spine. What the fuck? But there's nothing wrong with talking about your shit. I hope that anyone understands that it is extremely important. If you're going to cope with something, you better face it head fucking on. You have to.
Best way to do it. Best way to do it because it's your shit. You deal with it, and when you do it head on, you appreciate the experience. Because you're taking it on. You're grabbing the bull by the horns.
You have to. And if you feel like you can't, and you feel like it's impossible, and you feel like you don't know how, and you feel lost and trapped, that is the exact moment you have to grab the bull by the horns. Okay? Because that will show some extreme character about who you are when you're trying to make better light out of a situation that is really shitty. And everyone is probably dealing with something right now that they have plenty of valid excuses for, but try not to make excuses. Try to really embrace the shit that you got going on in your life. One more thing, Ira, I heard a quote the other day by Naval Rockavan that I wanted to share with you. It says, every man has two lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he has just one. Every man has two lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he has just one.
That's deep.
Naval's a bad motherfucker. He does not screw around. He's a smart guy.
That's a major mind fuck right there.
Yeah, I'll let that one fester until next week. Closing arguments from the defense, Ira. You got anything for us? You got anything?
No, not really.
For our lovely community, we've got a great community of people here. The people that do chime in, you know who you are. We love it.
Yes,
obviously,
we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we're not just here for our own health. I mean, it is great to talk to Ira once a week for a nice long hour and bitch and complain. But we want to keep it light today, and we got St. Paddy's Day coming up right in a few days. So hopefully
everybody's gonna get wasted.
I think everyone got wasted this weekend though.
Yeah, probably. Not me.
No, not me either. I'm not too much of a drinker these days, Ira. But
yeah, same here.
I hope everyone has a great week, and just realize if you're going through those shitty moments in life, and you don't know how to deal with them, because we're all going through them. Coping has a lot to do with just acknowledging what is going on and really.
If you're struggling, reach out to somebody.
Yeah. Ira, what would you do if someone reached out to you and said, dude, I'm fucked. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. What would you do if someone reached out to you?
I mean, I'm going to listen. Like, I'm going to ask a couple questions, but I'm going to listen. Like when somebody, like, and here's the thing. And this is where it goes towards, the old thinking and saying that, it's not a masculine thing to do to voice, and I know
Absolutely.
a lot of people have a hard time breaking that. So here, let's just say I have somebody reaching out to me, pouring their heart out.
Yeah.
My first thought is, thank you, but I'm going to be here for you. Like, that's literally my first thought, because I know what it's taking for this person to just pick that phone up or even to just track me down and talk with me. Yeah. It takes a lot just to do that, take that one initial step. So therefore, you owe it to that person to, one, make them feel welcome, but then two, just shut the fuck up and listen. Hear the real issue. And then everything falls into place after that.
Yeah, I think we could all do a better job at talking less and listening more. And that's what you get with the On Blast podcast, folks. You could reach out to either Ira or myself. We are always, and I've heard from plenty of people, and I appreciate, again, the love and support. But if you're going through shit and it's a bad day, you know where to find us. We're just two extraordinary guys. I can't even say ordinary because we are not ordinary.
Hey, I'm the average Joe.
Average Joe Ira, with the goat around his neck. Someone asked me about that also, Ira. They said, what is that? Is that a goat? I said, yeah, that's a fucking goat.
It's a goat.
Don't try to take it either, because Ira will open up a can of whoop ass on you.
Oh, I'll definitely open a can of whoop ass. Hey, get some high quality H2O.
Yeah, you are the absolute worst. It's like, yeah, call me if you need anything. I'm a total shoulder to cry on, but I'll whoop that ass if you come near my gold chain. I love that. And that's masculinity, folks, from me and Ira. From us to you. Thank you for joining. If you guys haven't, again, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. If you can relate to this, share it with someone you know that you think might need to hear it. We're all going through shit. We just got to take it one step at a time and know it's just that's life, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, Ira.
And then one thing is I'd like, for our viewers, if you got anything in mind or any ideas or whatever, just shoot us a comment, shoot us a DM, give us some ideas. If you have a certain topic that you want to see us get into, bring it up to us, interact with us, or let's just say we have a great idea. We can bring some of our viewers on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. If you guys have any topics that maybe you don't feel so clear on and you want someone to break it down in a very transparent way, I know I would be more than happy to talk about something extremely sensitive that you might not want to talk about, or likewise for Ira. So couldn't agree more, Ira. Love it. So everyone have a beautiful St. Paddy's Day. Me and Ira are more than happy to be back here next week, Sunday, 6 o'clock, and we are going to be on the ball, ready to rock and roll. All right, Ira. Nothing but love here. On Blast for life, baby. We out.